What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 1 of Crippling Crush, a bi-weekly flesh and blood podcast brought to you by myself, Lewis, WhatsUpWoody, call me whatever the hell you want, and the wonderful Semper. How are you doing, dude?
I'm all good, mate. How about yourself?
Oh, well, you know, the day was good, and then I sat in here with you, and the day just got really worse. No, I'm joking. It was, no, it's all good, man. It's all good. Excited to get going on this. Excited to get going. Excited to chat about some fab. And share our opinions on what has been an absolute hectic day for just, here's a new card, here's a new card, here's a new card, here's a new card. It's been bonkers, right, mate?
Yeah, it's been absolutely bombardment in the chat. Obviously, my Mank Discord is full of Rangers, so they're just going nuts for all the spoilers.
Yeah. No, it's I can imagine. I can imagine. So a couple of things. This is live. So we were doing this beforehand. Myself and Semper, we done a podcast before called Towering Titan. There was a name clash with someone in the UK Discord, and it was only fair. Like they had the name first. It was only fair to be like, okay, cool, no worries. We're not here to tread on anyone's feet. We went off the ball. I went back, changed the name. Unfortunately, some personal things came up for me, so we had to put a delay on it. But we're back now, completely starting again with Crippling Crush. We've checked everywhere. There's no plagiarism. There's no stealing of names. It's fine. Every lawyer's happy, so it's all good. It's all good. And yeah, so this is now going to be a fortnightly podcast going forwards. It is going to be live on Twitch. We want to have that kind of live connection with the Fab community while talking about stuff. It's going to be very much a relaxed environment, very chilled. And then it will be available on YouTube and audio places the following day. We have to wait 24 hours because that's Twitch's rules, unfortunately. So audio will be out beforehand, then video will go live up on my YouTube channel for now. Maybe there'll be another one, or more dedicated one in 24 hours time. But that's kind of the what do you want to call it? The housekeeping out the way. And because it is live, we want to have some chat interaction. Now we're not ignoring chat during the podcast. I'm sure if anything fun pops up, we'll mention it. But if you have any questions, by all means put them in chat, and we will have a section at the end of every single podcast where we will be answering your questions basically real time, and that'll be a way also of audio listeners being able to get in on that action as well by us reading out what the questions are. So anyway, that's enough of that done. Should we just jump into it, mate? Should we just go straight through the Fab wall into it? Road to Nationals. Road to Nationals is thick on us. You have been to an event already. You've got an event coming up this weekend. Talk to me, mate. Talk to me. How was your Road to Nationals event?
So I thought it was a very good experience. Apart from waking up at 4 a.m, didn't really enjoy that part of it. But I had a bit of travel to do to Derby via train. We got there around 9 a.m, I think. I got lost because Google Maps took me in the wrong direction. That was good fun.
Did you get lost because Google Maps, or did you get lost because you're from the north of England and you just don't know how to read maps normally?
It was definitely Google Maps. So the event was 6 rounds of Swiss, and then into a top 8 cut. Then, obviously, top 4 got the automatic qualifications for nationals. So I went 5-1 in Swiss, which I was very, very happy about, beating a couple of good players in the community, round 1 and 3. And then, unfortunately, I came into the bad matchup. I was against Chain, and Chain drew absolutely bonkers. He banished absolutely bonkers, and he finished on 27 health, and I cried.
Wow. Well, mentioning Chain, I mean, you're the Segway King. I was told that before we even got into this podcast. I saw it in your name and lights, the Segway King. Now you can see up on the my placement's all over the place. There you go. You can see up on the stream now that the Road to Nationals graphic that was shared by Cosmic Plays. And you mentioned Chain, and I wanted to bring this graphic up. This graphic's updated weekly, I believe, and this is the most recent one that came out Monday, Tuesday time. And you can see here, Chain, 309 top placements. Now, this is global, right? This is not UK based. This isn't US based. This is genuine around the world, right?
Yeah, these are global stats. So this is covering, obviously, your North American, your New Zealand meta, then your European meta, and obviously the UK meta.
Yeah.
But Chain is... It's fair to say that Chain is shaping the meta the way it is. Like, in my opinion, if Chain didn't exist, it wouldn't be an aggro meta. But because Chain is the way it is, and you need to beat Chain by like turn 5, otherwise it's pretty much wish the game goodbye.
So
That's why a lot of people go aggro.
is that why you think maybe the other champions are there because they are? For example, I mean, I'd say every champion. Most champions in Flesh and Blood are pretty versatile, right? Like Katsu can be control, can be aggro. Bravo to an extent can be control, Bravo can be aggro to a certain extent, as aggressive as a Guardian can be, but more aggressive. Prism the same, right? Control element, slightly more aggressive element. Dash the same again, control dash, aggro dash. Do you feel like people are taking those heroes? So if we look at the kind of the top set of heroes, not Chain, we got Katsu, we got Prism, Bravo, Bolton, Dorinthia, and Dash. They all offer an aggressive archetype. Is that why they're there, do you think? Because that's the counter to Chain?
Yeah, I'd like to say so. Like, I think at the start of it, before we knew our dominant chain was, that week 1 road to nationals, like, Control Katsu was probably turn up a little bit more. But then when Matt Rogers brought out the good old flock deck that gave the extra chain go again and go again, that's when the aggro Katsu started coming out, because it was a really good matchup into chain. And then you've got stuff like, I think Prism's a bit weird because Prism's just popular. No, I don't think she's that good. I think she's just popular. She's liked by a lot of people. That's why she's so common. But that's why she's struggling with her conversion rate from top 8 to actually winning events.
Yeah. So for audio listeners, I'll just read it through. So like I said, Cosmic Plays, if you want to follow them over on Twitter, they are at Cosmic Plays. And they put this out weekly. A lot of work goes into this meta report, taking it from bland spreadsheet data and putting it into a very nice, easy to read infograph. So top 8 placements is 309 to Chain to 49 wins. Top 8 placements, Katsu 168 to 18 wins. Prism's 114 placements she drops down massively to 8 wins. Bravo's 107 placements to 15 wins. Bolton 93 placements, 15 wins. Dorinthia 81 placements to 10 wins. Dash is 67 placements to 7 wins, and the rest there are kind of a little bit lower numbers. But I mean, it's easy to say, okay, Chain is dominating or manipulating the meta, but Chain, Katsu in general, they take up just under 50% of placements, but they actually take up over 50% of wins. Do you think looking at this, now LSS can't do anything about this with Tales of Aria. Tales of Aria has been in design steps for ages. It's now in printing steps. There's nothing about that. Do you think this data that is now so readily available and being created by the community could manipulate their decision making for champion design going forwards?
I think there's definitely a possibility. We've seen that with Crew, right? Because obviously before I came to the game, there was Dash was very, very popular a while ago, and then they obviously printed Smash, which is a brute card, roll a dice, destroy as many items on the board as possible, which is a complete Dash counter on its own. But I think it's weirdly enough, talking about Tales of Aria, I feel like they've hit the counter to Chain and Katsu already. And I don't know if that's been on purpose, expecting the way it was going, or if it just happened by accident.
Yeah. No, and we got onto the Tales of Aria cards because they look very spicy. Very, very spicy. Now, you took a Katsu deck, right? You took, I believe, Katsu Control is the one that we played with before. How do you find it fared? I know you obviously went 5-1 Swiss, as you said, and then you lost to Chain in the matchup. I mean, I suppose going toe-to-toe controlled against Chain is going to be a tough matchup anyway. But how do you think you fared overall? Do you feel like your deck was pretty good, or do you kind of any tweaks you wish you could have made? And also what I'll do is I'll link your deck below. So anywhere, obviously not live on Twitter, I'm afraid, but anywhere where you're watching it or listening it, I'll put a link to the deck below so you can see Semper's deck that you took.
Sure. I feel like my deck actually overperformed. So I queued 2 Dorinthia, which was a good matchup for control. I lost to 1, beat 1. I queued aggro Katsu twice, which is a good matchup for me. And then I queued Dash and Prism. I've never lost to Prism in any type of Katsu. And then the Dash, I just went aggressive. So I kind of sideboarded away my control plan and just went face. And then obviously against Chain, I wanted to do the turtle, but obviously because the new flock deck came out, it kind of counters the turtle. So I just got overrun. I feel like if I was to do it again, I wouldn't take control, knowing what I know now. but at that time I was comfortable, and control fit my style of play.
So I suppose that leads on to my next question. You got an RTN event this Sunday, I believe.
This Saturday.
This Saturday. What deck are you taking then?
I'm taking Agrokatsu.
Agrokatsu.
Yeah.
Was your decision mainly influenced by the chain matchup, or was it just because you feel more comfortable with the deck?
So I've been putting reps on it only recently, because I've only just had time. But I feel like, so the control was good against a lot of stuff except chain, but the aggro is good against chain, maybe less against Dorinthia, but this chain's more popular, so I'm just taking like a probability decision that I'll queue more chains than Dorinthia.
That makes sense.
I mean, even aggro can still beat Dorinthia, but it's still a bad matchup.
Yeah, fair enough. So I was actually meant to attend 2 Road to National events. Unfortunately, for the last 4 weeks, I've not really been able to, 4 or 5 weeks, not really been able to commit and play tons of Fab. Some personal issues, mainly to do with childcare issues and things like that. But so I wasn't able to get to these Road to National events. It was annoying. It was upsetting. Hey, that's life. But you managed to get there. A couple of people who are in the chat right now, I know, managed to get there as well, and I respect very highly of them. My question to you then is: this was your first competitive event in Flesh and Blood. You're a veteran, a seasoned digital card game player who's played in many competitive events, digital card games, right? Both lands and in actual just kind of sat at home playing in digital events. And you know what kind of works well as a showcase event. How did these work as a Road to National event? Because these are open entry, right? Anyone can enter and buy a ticket, go along to it. So it's the kind of the last step on the ladder before it gets to invite. So how do you think, did it come across as a good kind of, hey, yeah, I'm really hungry now to keep climbing through. Now, I love this event. I want to come to more now. I want to get to the next step. Or was it a case of, hey, I enjoyed it, but maybe competitive Fab isn't for me?
From a personal standpoint, it's definitely made me more hungry for more competitive Fab. So, like, one thing I will say about Road to Nationals that I think people sometimes miss is it is still a tier 2 casual event. Mm-hmm. So you do have your locals that want to turn up, bring their own brews, have fun. People will make mistakes. I made mistakes in the game, and my opponent allowed me to take it back. Which then I returned the favor because he also missed something, but it works out. But then the casual players do realize that there is something on the line for the players that do want to take this a lot more serious. So obviously, you get once you get past a certain point in the bracket, that's when it starts to, you feel your opponents are that much better. Yeah.
Naturally. And Nationals are happening, baby, right? Nationals in October, they are happening. We're both going along to them. You're going up there hoping to compete, fingers crossed for this weekend. I'm mainly going up there to just kind of soak in the atmosphere and enjoy the side events. Really, really looking forward to it. What do you expect? Again, obvious question, but are you looking forward to Nationals? Are you looking forward to seeing what the kind of the higher tier of competitive Fab can be?
Oh, I'm super excited for Nationals. I think it'd be good for both sides of the coin, the spectator and the player. So I'll talk about it hopefully as the player's perspective, and then I'll leave the spectator side to you, Woody, because if you want to take that. But as a player, I'm super excited. I'm currently 76th on the ladder. There's still plenty more armies to go and Road to Nationals to go. So I'm fully expecting to go to Nationals. If I don't make top 4, going on XP, and I'll make sure that I go. So I'm super excited. I want to see where I fare with the best in the country.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm hungry to fight for that PTI to go to World Tour Pro Tour.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I've known you now for several years. I've had the pleasure of playing many games with you for several years. And I obviously like getting competitive in games, but I often tend to dip away from the kind of hardcore competitive stuff, mainly because I enjoy doing more production-based things. Games I've casted in, games I've just kind of content created in. And when you content create, it can be very hard to focus solely on being competitive when you're trying to cover all weird bits and bobs of content creation. So it'd be interesting to see where I kind of go with Fab with that. I'm definitely looking forward to getting up there and seeing. I want to see how it is run as a production. Now, I know we've got coming up very soon the US callings. And I know the callings are not so much one step above the Nationals, but the callings are the massive open events, right? Anyone can go attend the all and pay your entry price, I'm interested to see how they are, because they're almost like flesh and blood cons as well as tournaments, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they're done. I've been looking at the US stage, and then kind of going across to the Nationals UK and being like, well, how did it stand up on the production value? Is it, I mean, for example, we don't know yet. Is it going to be streamed? Is it going to be casted? Is it going to be live streamed from the UK Nationals? That sort of stuff I'm interested in. I want to see that from a spectator point of view. As much as I'm looking forward to just seeing how people who are 10 times better at the game play over me. And I also quite like that grabbing a beer, relaxing, not having the stress of playing, and just absorbing and being like, wow, did you see that play? It's amazing. It's like, change subject slightly, but you mentioned to me in the past, you don't play League of Legends, but you like watching it, right? Because you have no stress connection with it, but you enjoy watching the high tier play. And I'm kind of looking forward to that kind of thing with the competitive players at the Nationals. But yeah, Road to Nationals, as I've been just reminded, very kindly so, by Atticus in chat. It finishes on the 5th of September in the UK. That I believe, I don't know if that's worldwide actually. 5th of September worldwide. Yep. It is. So this time next week, that is it. Road to Nationals 2021 are done for. That is it. Wrapped up. Obviously, we know that there's a $2 million prize pool, I believe, for next year. Is that right? 3 million.
1 million.
Oh, 1 million. 1 million. $1 million dollar prize pool for next year's competitive scene. So we know there's something's coming. But yeah, Road to Nationals are wrapped up. But do not panic, guys, because the 5th of September may be a sad day. The 24th of September is certainly not going to be a sad day, because we have Tales of the Bloody Aria. I put bloody in there because, I want to make it dramatic.
Why not?
Today's been bonkers. Today has been bonkers, okay? Absolute card after card after card after card. And I'm going to show you some magic now, Semper. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Boom! Look at that. We're over to a new screen. Look at that. So, we've got some cards to talk about. We've got some spice to ingest. And we've just got some absolute fat to chew. So some of these cards were revealed a little while ago. Some of them have literally been dropped today. I have assets for pretty much all of them. So, yeah, we should be able to get through them and just kind of and share our thoughts on them. So, let's start with the obvious one, right? Let's get the two heroes up there. Let's get the Lexi in the house. Mature and young, they don't do much different in terms of, apart from the health pool. But, it's good to get them up there so we can actually look at them and make sure we're speaking about them quite well. So, Lexi Livewire is the new hero coming with Tales of Aria. Elemental Ranger, Essence of Ice and Lightning. So you may have Ice and Lightning cards in your deck. Once per turn action, turn a face-down card in your arsenal face-up. If it's a Lightning card, your next attack this turn gains go again. If it's an Ice card, create a Frostbite token under target hero's control. Go again. We'll get to Frostbite tokens in a minute. Semper, initial thoughts or thoughts now. We've seen Lexi for a little while. Now we've seen some supporting cards for her today. What are your thoughts on this hero?
I think Lexi is going to be very good. Very, very good. I feel like she's going to be very versatile. She can build into maybe a lightning aggro strategy with a lot of go again. There's a lot of, once we get to the Frostbite, people understand about opponent and manipulation. So, or she can build a hybrid, I suppose, a bit like Viscera IOTK, where she runs 50% attack action cards, 50% action cards to try and balance it out. Maybe she could build a hybrid lightning and ice. So I think she's very, very versatile.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we'll go on to this more as we start going through more cards now. So when I initially read her, before the cards we found out today were a thing, I was concerned. Mainly was my first thing. I was excited, but I was concerned. Now, as someone who is a big fan of OG Ranger, Azalea is someone I thoroughly enjoyed playing. And I understand she's not trash, but I also understand she's not great. And I just, for me, the biggest thing that lets Azalea down is her consistency. There's lots of balls to juggle to make sure you're being consistent. Lots of opting to make sure you're doing that, and lots of things going on just to make sure you're getting the dominate. Just to make sure you're getting the dominate. That's it, right? Whereas I instantly was like, well, Lexi doubles that consistency almost if you go down on a core stat route in terms of, well, she doesn't just need an arrow card now. She can have a lightning card or an ice card. So you've got two types. So even if you miss one, you're hitting the other, or if you hit one, or if you've got the consistency, you're choosing one. So that was my initial concern. Like artwork wise and thematic wise, I think she looks great. I love the whole elemental approach they're going for. I was just concerned initially. It was just like, come on, don't do this to my girl. Azalea's got to come on. Why are you doing this to her? Please.
I mean, I have no association to any Ranger. I don't like. It's the only class that doesn't interest me in the game. But I mean, Lexi is very good, and I think, in my opinion, why would you play Azalea when you've got Lexi? That's from a range perspective. That's the question I'd be asking.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll got some things to add to that as we go on. But going up to, we have Shiva now. So Shiva's her weapon, or one of her weapons, I should say. And Shiva reads, once per turn, you can spend one. You may put an arrow card from your hand face up into the empty arsenal zone you control. At first I read that and I was like, that sounds weird. That wording's weird. And then I realised why they said that, because there's a card I'm going to speak about later on. If you do, choose one. It gains +1 until the end of turn, or it gains dominate until the end of turn. Come on, Semper. Thoughts on this weapon?
So they put Azalea into a weapon. Like, the Ranger's getting bonkers. Like, Ranger had powerful cards, but it's like you said, she had no consistency. Talking Red in the Ledger, you're remorseless. Sleep Dart, I think, is the one that turns off the ability to the leader's ability. But then now they've put the Dominate, so like you can activate Lexi to give Go Again, and then activate your Shiva to Dominate. So now you've got Go Again, Dominate. So now you've got powerful and consistency. So.
Yeah, that was, again, like kind of... And I don't want to sit here and go, oh, this is bad design, this is bad design. I think it's very nice and very kind of thematic design. And I like the approach of it. My concern is, it just feels like they've just... Like, I can't see Ranger. Ranger is already not in the best spot. I just can't see Ranger ever getting any sort of play over Lexi now. And I know a lot of people said that pre-Monarch. A lot of people were like, well, why'd you play Dorinthia when I can play Bolton and I can put all of Dorinthia's cards in Bolton anyway? But once Bolton became a thing and people played them, they're like, oh, okay, they're actually very different playstyles. This doesn't seem like it's going to be a very different playstyle. You're still using the arsenal to load an arrow and shoot an arrow and all things like that. You're still using bows. It just seems like Lexi corrects all the major issues that Azalea had.
Yeah, I think I had that same standpoint. It was Azalea maybe is never going to get there, so we'll make this Ranger absolutely nuts.
Yeah. So
I feel like that's the way they've gone. It's poor Azalea, I suppose, but I don't feel sorry for her. So
you should. Okay, Weave Lightning. Weave Lightning, another card that was revealed a while ago. A Lightning action card. This is a I'm showing the red one off. It's red, blue and yellow, obviously available in all colours. It's a 0 cost card. Obviously, pitch value depending on the colour you're playing. The next lightning or elemental attack action card you play this turn gains +3. If it's fused, it gains Go Again. Now, what fused means is if you're playing a lightning card, then if it's lightning fused, then you show a lightning card from your hand and it fuses the card. If you're playing an ice card, you show an ice card from your hand, it fuses the card. Then Go Again. So we're showing the red one, it's +3. If it's the yellow one, it's +2 damage. If it's the blue one, it's +1 damage as its base stat. With Lightning, what's your thoughts on that?
Seems like a solid card. Kind of reminds me +3, so like a the Nimblism +3, kind of similar. Obviously this is going down the elemental route, but it's not just built into Lexi. This will be built into future cards. I reckon it'd be a very well used card.
I think this is a very good pre-release card. If you find this in your pre-release, I would run this as a free of easy. It's a 0 cost card. And the fact that it's like the fuse and Go Again, this is an incredible sealed card. I'm saying it now. Like if I pull this in pre-release, I'm putting a playset in there straight away. Yeah. Especially even blue. 1 extra damage doesn't sound like much, but the Go Again people is bonkers, and obviously the pitch value. So yeah, I think Weave Lightning will be okay, and I think it will get some play in constructed. I think pre-release or sealed, this card's gonna be very, very solid. Now we go on to Voltaire. Now, Voltaire is the second weapon coming to Ranger. This was revealed by Noxious. Now, all these reveals, if you want to go see the reveal order or the reveal schedule, it's up on the Fab TCG website. They're doing it over the next kind of 3 or 4 days. This is a kind of the higher tier weapon in terms of this is the majestic weapon. And it reads twice per turn instant. Remember that, people. A twice per turn instant. One resource. You may put an arrow card from your hand face up into an empty arsenal zone you control. If you do, choose. It gains +1 until the end of turn. It gains go again until the end of turn. I'm going to be honest. I do not like this design whatsoever.
Why?
Because the majestic weapons in the past have been very different to the common weapons, the token weapons, right? They've had a different playstyle. This is literally saying, why on earth would you ever play with a token weapon? I do the same but better. The difference being it doesn't get to dominate, it gets go again. Like, I don't like it for that because I feel like for example, Bolton, right? You get 2 hatchets or you get Duskbane. Duskbane's a very different deck building play style to hatchets. This is literally the same deck. I just run this as a better card. That's my opinion.
You could look at it 2 different ways. So you could look at it as, let's say we'll just use Lexi examples. So you could use the Voltaire as a lightning go again aggro deck, whereas you could use Shiva as a go tall, fire 1 arrow with dominate. You can't block all my damage. So then you're constantly getting through your frostbite tokens and stuff.
True.
So I think it's 2 different builds. I think one's a go tall, you can't block me. One's a I go wide, hit you in the face.
True, but then my other concern is like that if we're looking at the abilities, this also is a twice per turn instant. I can cast it any time I want, and it doesn't take an action point, right? Whereas the token one is a once per turn action. So like with go again, I get that. But as in, I could cast this on my opponent's turn at the end of their turn, setting up an opening play for the start of my turn. That's kind of my point. I just don't like it because I feel like in the past the weapons have been different, and they've kind of almost maybe they haven't always like brought new deck playing styles, but they've encouraged a different approach or a different play style. I feel like this is literally just a just a Shiva on steroids. That's all it feels like to me. And I personally, I'm just not a big fan of it. But that's what it is. It's not saying it's bad. I wanted a bit more, something a bit different. That's it.
I could see your point. Like I said, I just see it from 2 different build points.
Yeah. Cool. So then going on to Buzzbolt. Buzzbolt is the next card that got revealed today. Buzzbolt is an arrow card. It's an elemental ranger action arrow attack. If we're getting technical. Lightning fusion, which is what we spoke about earlier. Show a lightning card from your hand, fuse it. If Buzzbolt was fused, whenever an attack hits a hero this turn, it deals 1 damage to them. That'll be 1 additional damage to them as well. So this is the red one. It attacks for 5. The yellow one would attack for 4. The blue one attacks for 3. It's a 1-cost card. What do you think about Buzzbolt?
5 for 1's generally good. As a ninja player, Pounding Gale and Torrent of Tempo, 5 for 1's are very good.
I mean,
so
it's 5 for 6 if it hits. Like it's 6 for 1 if it hits.
Yeah.
Which is
so I think it seems like a very good card.
I mean, 6 for 1 is getting into Phantasm realms, right? Without the keyword Phantasm.
Almost, yeah. Which is Watching Herald, yeah.
Kind of scary. Like, kind of scary that there's a card that exists that's potentially doing 6 damage for 1 mana. Now, if this was in Azalea, I'd be like, okay, this is an auto-include. It's strong. The fact that this card can quite easily get go again from what we've seen from the previous cards, that's what scares me. 1-cost cards that can gain go again. That genuinely scares me.
If comboed with Weave Lightning, because it can get fused, so then it's going to be coming in for 8 go again for 1 resource because Weave Lightning is 0, and then plus the 1 on top if it hits.
Yeah.
So 9 for 1. 2 cards.
Yeah, and if you using Shiva, dominate, easy. Wow. Okay, Electrify is another card that was revealed Today, Electrify is a lightning action card. We're looking at the red one. And this one is the next time an attack action card hits a hero of his turn, it deals 3 damage to them. If Electrify is played from Arsenal, draw a card, go again. It's a 1-cost card. The yellow one would, if it hits, it deals 2 damage to them. The blue one would be it deals 1 damage to them. Again, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on Electrify?
It feels like a Plunderun, but this costs 1 with the effects flipped. So if Plunderun is played from Arsenal, it's +3. Then if it hits, draw a card.
Yeah,
that carries on. Yeah. Whereas this is the way around. I think this is a strong card. I always like go agains and drawing. Can't go wrong with drawing cards during your turn. So I think it's a good one.
Yeah, I feel like the fact that as we've just seen with Buzzbolt, the fact that you can be pushing something like 6 damage out, well, potential 6 damage, 5 guaranteed base damage, and getting to go again. Cards like this are crazy strong, strong as well. And what this does is, what I like about cards like Electrify is, it's not adding to the base damage. So let's say that we play this before we play Buzzbolt, right? Buzzbolt is now, okay, it's coming in for 5, but the opponent's forced to double block it, to fully block that 5. Otherwise, they're taking the 1 additional from Buzzbolt and potentially the 3 additional from Electrify. So it's a case of, okay, I'm only taking 5 damage, but I need to block it, because if I only block 3 of it, then all of a sudden I'm taking 5 damage again. So or 6 damage again, which is kind of scary. So I quite like that almost preempting of kind of saying, hey, I'm only doing 5 base, but if you don't block this, I'm doing a lot more. And I like putting that pressure and ownership on the player. I do like when cards do that. But
this also, if played from Arsenal, is guaranteed the card draw. It's got nothing doing related to the actual hitting, right? 2 different sentences. So you play it from Arsenal, you pitch what if you're pitching 1, you're still drawing that card, whether or not the attack hits. Yeah,
which again, card draw in any game is probably the most powerful mechanic you can have. It's absolutely insane. Then we go on to Chilling Ice Vein. Chilling Ice Vein is a Elemental Ranger action arrow attack card. It's a 1-cost card. We're looking at the red one. Ice Fusion, so it's the exact same as we spoke about earlier of Lightning Fusion. Reveal an ice card in your hand to fuse it. If Chilling Ice Vein was fused, whenever an attack deals damage to the hero this turn, not just this card, this turn, they discard a card unless they pay 1 resource. This thing is coming in for 5 damage in red, 4 damage in yellow, 3 damage in blue. This card is bonkers.
I would have thought, okay, is this a common? This card is bonkers. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This dominated with a boost is just ridiculous. And you got a pitch just to stop yourself discarding, or you just discard anyway. Nah. Bonkers.
Yeah. Now the often, this is a very small thing about this card. Now, one thing I've seen with the previous cards, like the Buzzbolt, for example, was it offered 2 block. It's a powerful card. It offers 2 block. Same with the Weave Lightning. Offers 2 block. Electrify as well. 2 block. This is 3 block. It's still a full value block card, as well as being an absolute bonkers card. That again is a common. It's just, nuts.
It's ridiculous.
Absolutely nuts.
Outside looking, this is all included.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. This is a playset of, definitely. Absolutely. It's aggro because it's one mana, 1 resource for 5 damage, right? With the easy chance to get go again based on the other cards we looked at. But it's also control in terms of you're forcing them to spend their hand to either not discard a card or pay the resource. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Then we're going on to Chill to the Bone, peeps. Chill to the Bone. Apologies for the quality and the resolution of the coming up cards. These ones I wasn't able to get official artwork from the website. I had to pull these off Discord. So the quality is not great, but you can still see what the card does. Chill to the Bone. The next time an ice or elemental attack hits a hero of his turn, create 3 frostbite tokens under their control. Go again. Now, people might not know what frostbite tokens are yet, but we'll get on to them in a minute. This is nuts. This is a 0-cost card.
This is again another bonkers card, and when you realise, like when we show you what Frostbite token is, this is what I referred back before about opponent manipulation.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous.
I do feel like
It costs nothing.
Lexi is going to offer a lot of aggro and control. Her control looks genuinely very good, like very good. And cheap resource costs would go again. So having a control deck that can multi-control per turn is genuinely terrifying. Genuinely terrifying, right? You're controlling your opponent on your turn, which most decks in Fab so far have been you're controlling them on their turn, right? So for example, you go back to when you were playing Katsu Control. A lot of time is you're just playing very defensive because then you can poke the damage out. When I was playing my Bravo control list, I was playing very defensive and then getting big damage over the top using the Tectonic Plating to get someone like a Mangle out for free. This is a case of, I don't need to block because I'm going to make you exhaust your whole hand of resources on my turn. And then I'm just going to do it over again and again and again. But, so Tilted Bone is a 0 cost card. We're looking at the red one, which creates 3 Frostbite tokens. The yellow one creates 2 Frostbite tokens. The blue one creates 1 Frostbite token. And if you're wondering what a Frostbite token is, people, here it is. A Frostbite token is an aura that plays on your opponent's side of the board, and it says, or you can choose to play on your opponent's side, you can put it on your own side if you want to, I don't know why you want to. Cards and activated abilities you control cost an additional resource. At the beginning of your end phase, or when you play a card or activate an ability, destroy Frostbite. Now, chilling Chill to the Bone creates 3 of these things. So you're going to have to either hit 3 end phases or activate 3 abilities, all of which that cost you an additional resource to get rid of them. That's your whole turn eaten up, right?
So essentially, I think they stack for the first ability. So if you want to, let's say a ninja wanted to play Kadachi, you'd have to pitch 4 to get 1 Kadachi off just to get rid of the Frostbite token to then have a turn.
Okay. But still, these are scary, right?
It is ridiculous. So I've been having a discussion today in the Manic Discord about Frostbite, and people were saying that this is like a really good counter to aggro, where an aggro deck is kind of like resource hungry. Yep. So I was like, yeah, it makes sense. And then they were talking about like going into a control meta, but the point I was putting across is that a control deck needs to get as much value out of its hand as possible per turn, and able to kill their opponent while not dying. And 1 Frostbite token can completely shut down a whole hand because they want to play with 2-card hands mostly anyway. So it might just end up being worth way more than you even think. 1 Frostbite token. I think this is ridiculous.
No,
really good design though. I've got to give them credit.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I like it a lot. It's made me not reassess. It's made me think, wow, what direction are they going to go in the future with these kind of controls? Because it's creating an aura on their side of the board. I wonder if there's a way that this actually is countered in future ones. So let's say, for example, a lot of speculation is that there's going to be a Guardian revealed, right? Like a Frost Guardian or an Elemental Guardian. Now, Guardians play with auras anyway. Now, what if a Guardian has an attack that deals extra damage based on how many auras are in your control? Well, if that's the case, and all of a sudden you're giving me auras from Frostbite, all right, I might be spending an extra 3 resources, but I'm actually doing an additional 3, 4, 5, 6 damage. Like, I could see that being a thing where, okay, Frostbite's good, because remember as well that these sets are very, like self-contained. Yeah, self-contained. Yeah. And they build them a lot to, for example, Monarch, right? There are cards in Monarch where it's like if you're playing a Shadow, if you're playing a Light, they counter each other directly for pre-release and for sealed events. I can see Guardian countering this because Guardian's, there might be other classes that do it. I say Guardian because Guardian has got a history with playing around with auras already. So I could see a card where it is extra damage based on auras you control. And if I control Frostbite, and there's maybe an extra 2 damage per aura you control, that'd be bonkers. That would actually be broken. But could you imagine that? Like, hey, yeah, cool. I'm going to spend 3, but I'm going to do an extra 6 damage to you. Deal with that.
Yeah, I think there's definitely has to be some sort of counter to having Frostbite tokens in the future. Obviously, they might be in the set. We just don't know. We haven't seen all the cards yet.
Yep. Indeed.
Or it could be in a future set where more elements are released. So the prediction is for this set is Ice, Lightning, which we've already seen, and then the elephant. Another element is Earth/Nature,
Yeah.
and then so like in the future set we get the wind, the fire, and the water. Because you could think like Ninja is already kind of water with the new cards and crew. You got
Yeah.
Flood Force, you've got Torrent of Tempo, you've got Rushing River, so it already has like that kind of theme around it anyway.
Yeah.
So maybe like a fire element further down the line is what counters this. So like fire counters ice kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going on to my next card. Sorry, guys, I've got to import these last couple of cards. Light It Up, which is an Elemental Ranger action arrow attack. It is Lexi specialization, meaning that you can only have Light It Up in your deck if your hero is Lexi. And this has Lightning Fusion. If Light It Up was fused, it gains, if this hits the hero, deal 1 damage to them for each equipment they control. If Light It Up deals damage to a hero equal to or greater than the number of equipment they control, equipment they control lose and can't gain activated abilities until the end of that next turn. This to me is screaming more control. This is a very control heavy card.
Very. This is nuts. So a lot of equipment you want that's got like your Battle Worn, so your Teklo Foundry, your try to think of other ones like Breaking Scales. I know it's a easy one to remember, but your stuff like that. And then so you obviously block with it and it stays there, and you're waiting for the right time to use it. But against Lexi, do you kind of want to use that equipment earlier so you don't get punished by a card like this?
Yeah.
And then shutting off the ability to boost from Teklo to gain the resources.
Yeah.
Or being able to shut off the tectonic plating for Bravo. It's bonkers. I think this is really cool design.
Yeah, so I missed out the obvious points. This is a 1 cost resource card. It's only available in yellow because it's a Majestic specialization card. And it's coming in for 4 damage. So it's still pretty tasty on the damage. It's only costing 1 to go forward with it. This is to me what I would class as a classic Fab control card. And what I mean by that is what I like about the way Fab does control, or Fab does a lot of its cards, is a lot of them are forcing pressure on your opponent's decision making. And I like that a lot. It's a case of, it's got base stats, but I like cards that push ownership onto your opponent and saying, hey, you know I'm running this card, you know I'm playing this hero. Are you going to burn your resources early to counter that? Or are you going to hope that I just don't find that card, that resource, whatever it is, my win con, if you want to call it that, shall we say. I like Light It Up a lot. And then going on to the final card today that got revealed is a legendary piece of equipment for Ranger. Key thing to point out with New Horizons is it's for Ranger. It isn't just for Elemental Ranger. It can be used on Azalea as well. And just grabbing up now. And here we go. So this is a headpiece. So we'll take over Cross Wrap. And this is while you have a face-up card in your arsenal, you have an additional arsenal zone. When New Horizon is destroyed, destroy all cards in your arsenal. Now the big kicker side salad to this, because this reads already like, if you're listening, you're like, what is this card? 2 arsenals. It has Blade Break. So it has 2 block. But if you block with this card just once, it's destroyed. It doesn't go down. It's not Temper. It is straight up Blade Break. I mean, this card's bonkers, right?
I mean, this card is very good. Offering Ranger to Arsenal zones is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, obviously, the Ranger players are a bit upset that they've got 2 headpieces now, and this is replacing Cross Wrap. But obviously, for those Azalea players, you aren't going to use New Horizon with Azalea because then reload mechanic will not work if you have 1 card in your arsenal. No. So if you've already got 1 in, you can't reload the second space. It will not work. So New Horizon, very, very good with Lexi.
I did think that. Exact same. But the thing that made me think, well, why is it Ranger? Why give it the ability to be played with Azalea? And obviously, much like Monarch, this will still bring just straight up OG Ranger card support as well, right? It won't be much, but maybe 3 or 4 cards Ranger. Maybe there are cards that do work with New Horizon. Maybe there are cards that let you play New Horizon with Azalea. Because you're right in saying at the moment, it's just no point. The reload mechanic is just no good. The card has to be face up. And then one of the ways you get card face up is cross wrap. Well, I can't run cross wrap and New Horizons at the same time. It's physically impossible. But yeah, the card's very strong. It's very, very strong. And it's going to make Lexi a terrifying force. A terrifying force. But that's all the card reveals. That is all the card reveals. So 3, 2, 1. Back to our original screen. There we go. But no, so that's gone through all the cards that were revealed today. I'm genuinely excited to see what else comes. There's a couple of things. My biggest takeaway from what I've seen today is, and this is just personal, slightly more sadness than happiness. Mainly because I just don't see any reason for playing Azalea anymore. I feel like they've literally taken the biggest dump you can on that hero and just been like, yeah, we didn't do a great job with her, making her good. Here's Ranger version 2. Basically, that's what it feels like to me.
Why not be happy? Now you can actually win with a Ranger. Not just turn up to your event and cry every time.
It's about having fun. It's about having fun, Semper. And Azalea's fun. As much as she's not great, she's fun, all right? But no, yeah, it's the cards are exciting. And they've made me... There's a lot of unexpected turns in there. But I didn't expect to see, really. Mainly the whole kind of the real focus on control on your turn. Like in terms of I can manipulate your hand heavily while I'm still doing my damage output. That kind of took me by surprise a little bit. And I'm looking forward to seeing, because they will counter that. This set will counter that somehow, as we saw with Monarch. They counter that somehow, right? And how will they counter it? What heroes are going to come around that counters that? That's what I'm looking forward to seeing. I mean, if a new Guardian comes around, then Range can go over there, mate. It's like that meme, that guy walking along with his girlfriend. Like that is that age-old one. It's literally that. That's what I'm like, mate. But overall impressions. How do you? 2 questions for you. Overall impressions, and then 2. Going off Lexi. Now we've not seen all of the cards yet. Going off Lexi, how do you think she's going to land? If she was to drop tomorrow, how do you think she'll land in this meta?
So overall impressions so far about the reveals, I think it was weird. I said today that I was not interested in Ranger. I actually said this to you before we actually jumped on this podcast, and then talking through the cards and how control he is, it's just shouting to me. It really is. I want to play some Ice Ranger and just absolutely annoy the hell out of my opponent. So I think overall impressions, I like the design. It's even turning a non-Ranger guy to play Ranger, which is sad. Where we should land in this meta?
He is realising the way.
Where we should land in this? I think she'd be very, very. Tier 1.
I think she counters
in my
chain.
opinion.
I think she counters chain quite hard.
She counters chain. She counters the aggro. She's going to turn it. It would turn the meta maybe away from aggro. It might even balance it out because at the moment it's all aggro to counter chain. So then if some control comes up, then some aggro disappears, and then because the control turns up, then Mr. OTK Viscerai, the combo deck turns up to beat the control deck, so maybe it would balance it out. But I think she'd fall into a very, very good place.
Yeah, I have to agree. I have to agree. She looks scary strong. But she's only the first hero, right? And as I said, this is a fortnightly podcast. So by the time we come around to the next one, I'm assuming pretty much we're going to have all heroes like revealed by then. I'm trying to think when 2 weeks is. Yeah, 2 weeks now. It's the 15th of September. And it's releasing on the 24th. So we might not have everything revealed by then, but we're going to have a lot more revealed by the 15th.
Definitely have a large section to reveals next 2 weeks.
Yeah, there's loads, absolutely loads. Now, again, none of those cards that were shown off tonight were revealed by us. They were revealed by content creators in the Fab community. If you want to see that, then go to fabtcg.com and you can see the full schedule of who's revealing what. It doesn't say times, but on what day, who's revealing them. They're revealed on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, streams, all over the place. And there's around about 7 reveals per day over the next couple of days. So by all means, go over there and check that out if you're looking forward to seeing what else is revealed. Some of them tell you what they're revealing. Some of them are question marks still, so you don't know exactly what they're revealing. But that's going to wrap up the main chunk. That's going to wrap up our main bulk. So this time when we turn to chat, and we say, What questions have you got? You guys got any questions about cards you've seen? About anything we covered in the podcast? Anything about like the Road to Nationals we spoke about? Maybe the Nationals. Again, Lexi's cards that we just showed off on stream. I'm going to quickly have a scour through now and see if we can find anything to pick it up. So Devil's Mouth did say that he loves the look of Flesh and Blood, but have no way to play Feels Bad Man. It's the best way I could say, and I think you agree with me because it's how you started, is Tabletop Simulator, right?
It is indeed. As someone that wasn't part of the TCG thing, I was always a digital card game player. The access to TTS gives you every card for free. It allows you to practice matchups, you build decks, go as wild as you possibly can. And then if you really enjoy it and get addicted like I did, go out and buy some cards. Play it in person, go down to LGS and play in an armory or a skirmish.
Yeah, exactly that. It's the exact same way I got into it. A lot of people in the Discord, it's the exact same way they got into it as well. Play TTS, and then all of a sudden you're like, this game's amazing. I mean, I was straight in there. I was buying booster boxes straight away, building decks, getting down my LGS. I started making them some starter decks to try and get some new players into the game. I'm like, come on, guys, get into the game, please. It's so good. And then, get into your armory events, and all of a sudden now it snowballs on further now. But TTS, I mean, the initial outlay for TTS is between £10 and £15, depending on your country and your regional pricing. But every card is available in TTS. It's not ideal. It's not as nice as playing over the table with someone else. But it's a great way of you seeing, is this game for me?
Yep.
Understanding mechanics and going on with it a bit further there. Just watching. Oh, Flake. So Flake saying that he suspects the new card leaks is worth discussing ahead of the fact that he beat Semper in the Blitz League.
Pass. Next question.
So Atticus coming in talking about what we were speaking about before with when I said I didn't like the Shiva compared to Voltaire, I believe it's called, the two bows. Saying dominant one is control. Voltaire has go again, so it's more aggro. Exactly what you say. Yeah, you're right on that. My counter argument would be that giving the fact there's 2 instants, so the fact that I can do it twice and give +1 to each card, I would argue that's an element of control because they're going to be forced to block it. So I'm still getting resources out of their hands. So if they're finishing their turn with 1 card in their hand, that is, in fab terms, still control. I've manipulated what they can do on their next turn. So
I wouldn't call it manipulation because it's a choice to block.
So if they don't block, they're dead in 2-3 turns, right?
It was a bit like, well, then if they can kill you faster than you can kill them, then technically no.
True.
It's a bit like chain aggro Katzen matchup. Like, they both don't want to block, it's just who can get there first.
That's fair news. And then he followed on to say that he does think that the bows will play differently. I'm interested to see that. Maybe I'm looking at very binary and very linear, and maybe I'm being a grumpy old git. I've got a kid now. I'm allowed to be a grumpy git, all right? Leave me be. And then speaking on the New Horizons headpiece as well, Atticus said, I raised the point that I was talking about Azalea, but it actually opens up the options for future ranges by having it as a ranger equipment. Obviously, this game it's not finishing with Tales of Aria, right? There's going to be many more sets to come. Maybe a new range comes around in the future.
They've got a valid point now.
Yeah.
More ranges allows it to be a little more versatile rather than just stick to one.
More ranges makes it a better game.
Debatable.
But no, that is going to wrap it up, guys. That is going to wrap it up. It's been an absolute blast. It's been fun doing it live, actually. And I've been able to read chat and see people interact and comment on things as we went. It was only our first episode. So this will be up on audio form tomorrow at some point. And then it'll be up on video form on YouTube probably now on Friday, because I have to wait 24 hours, but it's getting late where we are now. So it'll be back up the Friday morning over on YouTube. But it's been an absolute blast. Semper, thank you so much for giving up time, stopping by and chatting.
As always, thank you for having me on. It's always a pleasure talking fab with you.
Yeah, no, it's good. And I look forward to going forwards. Next episode, we're going to have loads to talk about. We're going to have all the card spoilers to talk about. We're going to have your Road to Nationals event to chat about as well. Where Road to Nationals would have wrapped up, we're going to have the opportunity to talk about the whole kind of overall meta snapshot, shall we say, of what decks won what and what the percentage rate on all the different decks were and all things like that. But yeah, it's going to be a really, really cool episode going forwards. Also, next episode, one thing we're going to do is we're going to be calling out 3 cards each that we recommend you should be looking for in your pre-release Tales of Aria event. So that's something we're going to be doing then. But anyway, guys, have a great day, morning, evening, whatever it is, wherever you guys are. Stay safe, take care, and until next time, goodbye.